Hi, Allison and Melanie. Here's the rest of Teacher's Pet, Chapter 6, The Brunch. And we'll begin on page 73, where we left off. My little around here. There we go. Let me go back one more slide. Okay, here we go. Sorry about that. Page 73 down at the bottom. Are you here for Zoe's party? Asked the woman. Cricket nodded her head with relief. Come in, said the woman. You're a little early and we're not quite ready for guests yet, but I'm afraid. Cricket looked at her wristwatch. It said exactly 2 minutes to 11. 2 minutes was early, but not that early. She followed the woman past the dining room table, which was laid out with a tablecloth and place settings and a huge jack-o'-lantern in the middle, even though Zoe had said Halloween was for babies. They went into the kitchen, where Cricket saw Zoe mixing something with an egg beater. She was wearing a big apron over her dress. There were also a man and an older girl in the room cutting things up. One of your friends arrived a bit early, said Zoe's mother. Cricket glanced down at her watch again. It said exactly 11 o'clock. I'm not early, she protested. I'm the first one here, but everyone else is going to be late. It's 11 o'clock. The man began laughing. We didn't think of that, Zoe, he crowed. Everyone in the kitchen was laughing except Cricket. She didn't know what the joke was. Look at the time, said Zoe, pointing to the kitchen clock on the wall. The small hand was pointing to the 10 and the large hand was pointing to the 12. But it can't be, said Cricket. Her watch ran on a battery and she had gotten it for her last birthday. It always kept perfect time. How could it be wrong now? Last night was the time to set clocks back an hour. In the spring, we lose an hour to daylight savings time, and in the fall, we gain it back again, Zoe's mother explained. Your parents must have forgotten to change the clocks at your house. Cricket felt her face turning red with embarrassment. How could her parents have been so careless? It was awful to be the only guest at Zoe's house before they were ready for company. She looked at Zoe's stepfather. She just knew he would write about how stupid she had been about coming early. It would be in the newspaper for everyone to read. She turned to him angrily. Anyone can make a mistake, so don't you dare write about this in the paper, she said. It wasn't nice of you to do it before. There, she had been thinking it, and now she had said it. Here, this is for you, she said, handing Zoe the wrapped package she had been carrying. Since she had already read it, she wouldn't bother taking it home with her. She turned, looking for the door. She wasn't going to stay at this brunch party and be laughed at any more. Zoe's mother chuckled. It looks like this young friend of Zoe's is on to you, Ed. She leaned over and kissed her husband. Then, turning to Cricket, she said, We all live in fear of finding ourselves in the newspaper. Cricket didn't think she looked very frightened at all. Zoe's mother probably loved seeing her name in the newspaper all the time. Wait a minute, called the older girl, grabbing Cricket by the sleeve of her sweater. Since you got here so early, you can help us. We'll never be ready in time otherwise. It takes Zoe an hour just to peel a single apple. Why are you peeling apples? Asked Cricket. We're making fruit salad for the first course, said the girl. My name is Haley. Who are you? Cricket Kaufman, said Cricket, identifying herself. She thought that Zoe was lucky to have such a nice older sister. If only Monica were this big, they could really have great times together now. Mrs. Mitchell took Cricket's sweater from her and gave her an apron to protect her jumper. Why bother peeling the apples? Asked Cricket. You can leave the skin on, then the pieces look prettier, and it saves time too. You're right, said Zoe, grinning. I should have thought of that myself. The girls set to work cutting up apples and slicing bananas. There were also oranges and grapes to add to the fruit salad. As they were cutting up the fruit, Haley turned to Cricket. Did it ever occur to you that your last name is Kaufman, but you are not a man? You're a woman? I'm not a woman, said Cricket. I'm a girl. I won't be 10 until January. Yes, But your name shouldn't be Kaufman. It should be Cricket Kaufperson. Haley is very much into freeing our language of sexist references, said Mr. Mitchell. Yes, said Zoe. She says things like person whole cover and humankind and things like that. Cricket started to giggle. Did you tell her that Lisa Benson is in our class? She should change her name to Lisa Ben Person. Or Lisa Ben Daughter, said Haley. Or Lisa Ben Sibling, Zoe added. They started thinking of the other names and words that should be changed. Don't waste time, girls, or we'll never manage to be ready for the party in time, said Mrs. Mitchell. You mean we won't womenage to be ready, said Cricket, and everyone laughed. She was feeling much, much better about being here. When the Mitchells' kitchen clock said 5 minutes to 11 and Cricket's watch said 5 minutes to 12, the doorbell rang. The guests were beginning to arrive. There was a good smell in the kitchen, which turned out to be 2 large pies that were in the oven. The pies were not like the fruit pies Cricket's mother sometimes made. They were called quiche, and the fillings were made of eggs and cheese. They all had fruit salad and quiche and chocolate brownies and milk. No pickles, thank goodness. Afterward, Zoe brought out a tape recorder that belonged to her stepfather. There was a small microphone to speak into. Everyone is to say one sentence and we pass it around and around, Zoe instructed. That way we can make up a story. Let's make up a spooky story for Halloween, suggested Hope Devon. Yes, yes, some of the other girls agreed. I'll go first, said Zoe. I was walking in the graveyard, and it was dark, and I could hear strange sounds all around me. She passed the microphone to the next girl. After a couple of giggles, the story continued. It didn't sound like much when they passed the mic around, but afterward, when all the pieces were played back, it was a great story. Too bad we can't write reports for school this way, said Connie. When the Mitchells' clock said that it was 2 and Cricket's wristwatch said that it was 3, the party was over. Goodbye, goodbye, Zoe called as her guests were leaving. But to Cricket she said, So long, Cricket Kaufperson. I'll see you tomorrow. Cricket smiled and returned. She wondered if her parents had discovered yet that they had forgotten to turn the clocks in the house back an hour, and she wondered how they would feel about changing their last name, Kaufperson. It was really kind of funny. And the brunch hadn't been so bad after all. Maybe Zoe Mitchell wasn't so bad either.